welcome back to the Football Tribe UD channel. Give me a second as I test our audio before we proceed, because one too many times we've fallen short of getting things right, starting a broadcast, and yet our audio is off. So I need us to revisit this and make sure that we get going as you get to join the broadcast. I'm waiting for you guys to join the broadcast so that we can get started and speak everything Manchester United. Plenty of things happened, and today we will be speaking nothing other than Manchester United, because that's where all the football conversation is. That's where all the football conversation is. That's where it all happened. So join me on this journey as we discuss what happened. First of all, for starters, unlike what happened yesterday for our live broadcast in the immediate aftermath of the game, I was unable to do a live broadcast, and and I'll tell you why. That as a request for your forgiveness. One, just like Manchester United fans, I was lost for words. I didn't know what to say in that moment. I didn't know what to say. If I had what to say, I could not get it out of my mouth. For people that do not enjoy football, what do you guys enjoy? Because yesterday was a reminder that football is the beautiful game that we do enjoy. That football is that sport that we do cherish. I mean, I did try or attempt to, but I thought to myself, what am I going to say? I've got to look speechless. I'm going to look gobsmacked. And I'm sure you wouldn't want to, tune to the broadcast, and I'm just there standing looking at tape as if I'd been blown away, because indeed I had been blown away. I was still trying to take stock of what happened. I was still trying to enjoy the moment of football in itself that it was, that we had witnessed. I mean, Manchester United fans, for all the criticism that you may have for your players, for all the blame that you may take hit upon them, and deservedly so, for the individual errors that we did witness in yesterday's match, I'll say park that aside and enjoy this moment, because these moments do not come one too often. I would want to think, and even in today's broadcast, we will not speak tactics. We will not speak what the nitty-gritties of what happened on the pitch itself. We'll speak about the emotions of the game. We'll speak about what we felt, the different phases of the game. Because we went from Manchester United leading by 2-0 by halftime, to the disappointment of the traveling fans of Lyon and whichever well-wishers were caring to watch around the world, and to those who had given up on the match, thinking United had done with this one, and then went to Lyon, equalizing, and it was 2-2, and then we were suddenly thinking, oh, United have squandered a 2-0 lead, and it did not end at that. Lyon get a red card in the 89th minute for Corinth Tolisso, and guys, like the broadcast, I'll do me that favor and click that like button. And if you're new to the channel, kindly do subscribe. We are on our journey to hit at least 1,000 subscribers. We are 34 short of that. So do me the kind honors and hit that subscribe button. So Lyon get a red card in the 89th minute, and then we are thinking, okay, United are going to have all the advantage in extra time. Guess what? United conceded 2 goals. They conceded 2 goals. I mean, I'm pretty sure that to our United fans that cast at Luke Shaw, because we're talking about a player who has hardly kicked a ball at United in I do not know as how many months, there being at the conceding end of a penalty to hand Lyon that extra goal lead in extra time. I mean, we needed to take stock of that. So at that moment, obviously, so many Manchester United fans were disappointed. Some started, leaving the stadium, and you could not blame them. I'm sure there's so many out there that was sending all forms of abuses to that lot of Manchester United players. And then in the second half of extra time, Manchester United get themselves a penalty, each scored, and then some of the fans that were still just leaving the stadium, Old Trafford, came back to their seats. And they're like, oh, we may have a chance. There may not be a bunch of lunatics after all in these players that we do have. And I'm thinking, maybe because it is a European night, anything can happen. Somehow, and I must say somehow, United get back into the game. United scored 3 goals in a space of about 6 to 7 minutes. That's how electric the game felt in that moment. That's how enjoyable the fixture turned out to be. Kobe Mine. For all the discussions, the talk that we've had about Kobe Mine, about his, refusal to sign a contract because they are not coming to terms with the club on his salary and stuff like that, we forgot all that. As football well-wishers, I'm sure as Manchester United fans, they looked at that young boy and said, well, come on, Kobe Mine, as he buried that opportunity. And now, Manchester United were back with full confidence that, oh, wow, we are still in this. Maybe we have a chance. But I'm sure, given the way the Lyon goalkeeper tried to save that Bruno Fernandes penalty, of course, to his failure, because Bruno Fernandes put it far beyond his reach to the post. I mean, there are those Manchester United fans who are thinking, we had better not go to penalty because then Lyon may just pick up on that one. And then Harry Maguire, of all people, Harry Maguire, a centre back, in a moment that wasn't a set piece, in a moment, in a season where he suffered all forms of abuses, in a season where he's been attacked by, United fans in the form of criticism, both deserved and undeserved, was the man to save the day, was the man to salvage the day. I mean, Manchester United won the game 5-4. If you had not been there to watch it, you could not have believed. If somebody told you the trajectory of events, of how they transpired, you would have not believed them. Even I would not have believed them. But it being football, that it is the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, when that goal goes in, before we even get to the, chronological flow of affairs, when that goal goes in, I had so many reminders. I see Glitch Gum. Is it Glitch Gum? Yes. Thank you. Hi Glitch Gum. Thank you for tuning to the broadcast. Much appreciated. And if you don't mind, kindly leave me a subscription there so that we can continue to grow. We're pursuing our journey to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. So when that Harry Maguire goal goes in, I mean, I had so many reminders of moments that come close to what Manchester United fans had felt in that moment, especially in recent time. But for purposes of this review, for purposes of this broadcast, let's review the flow of events, of how things did really go down at Old Trafford, because, I mean, it was unbelievable. It was totally unbelievable. You had to be there. You had to be there. Extra time is not something we had anticipated we would have to witness prior to half time, and yet there we were into extra time. So Manuel Agate scores in the 10th minute. Of course, jubilant celebrations across the entire Old Trafford. I mean, Manchester United were in control of the game. They had a lot going for them in that moment. They were really pressing forward. They were really attacking the game. They were really taking on Lyon with the full strength of a United side. And then we had Bruno Fernandes, I think around the 34th minute, hit the crossbar. Just a couple of minutes after Andre Onana had been forced into a save on the opposite side around the 30th minute mark. So he hits the crossbar in what would have been a monumental finish. Should that attempt have gone on target. Oh my word. But it hit the crossbar. And then United, of course, kept pushing on. Lyon were kept made sure they stayed in the game in that moment. But then, in the stoppage time or added time of the first half, Diego Dalot scores a goal. And guess who was the one providing the assist? Harry Maguire. That long pass. Now, Diego Dalot, in that moment, really played like a striker. He played like a forward. I'm sure so many forwards, so many strikers would have failed to score that goal, especially Manchester United strikers. No pun intended. Rasmus Højlund, Joshua Zirkzee, and whoever else that would have been leading the Lions on the night. I'm sure that Diego Dalot chance, many would have missed it. And yet it was the Portuguese international going on to score a read, having to tussle a defender aside and then win that, take full control of the ball possession and going on to score. For Manuel Agate's goal, it was Alejandro Garnacho that did provide the assist. So, and then we went into halftime. Of course, in that Colin Tolisso had already gotten his yellow card. We had witnessed a couple of those in the game at that stage, and it was beautiful. So we go into the second half, and we are all thinking either United run away with this game or they have to manage the game. And how do you manage the game? One, take possession of the game, be passing, maybe to the anguish of the opponent, try and frustrate them in every attempt. Every time they are gaining a bit of momentum, knock them around, commit a foul here, sort of, have those continuous stop, play, restart. Something that, makes the game longer, something that frustrates them. Now, Lyon, coming into the second half, took matters in their own hands. They took charge of that game in ways that perhaps Manchester United had not seen coming. And again, you could sense a bit of worry in that stadium. You could sense a bit of worry. For Manchester United fans that do follow ardently their club as much as Mark Goldbridge does, maybe one of those that I do know on the global scene at least, must have felt something that, yeah, we have a 2-0 lead, but it's not really done. We can smell Lyon are capable of something. And guess what? Corinth Tolisso did score to pull one back. Alexander Lacazette providing the assist as Corinth Tolisso headed home to pull one back for Manchester United in the 71st minute. But 6 minutes later, in this around the 78th minute, Lyon were scoring to equalize the game. Now, of course, we all thought it was Alexander Lacazette that had, put the ball, beyond the reach of Andre Onana. But it looked like Andre Onana had that ball had already gone beyond the line when he tried to save it from Tagliafico there. I mean, and it was 2-2. Suddenly, all the worries that Manchester United, if any, had embedded within their scheme came to life. They were watching their team capitulate. They were watching their team concede a 2-0 lead to a team like Lyon. Not that Lyon are not capable, not that Lyon are underdogs, but you Manchester United, you are at home. It's Old Trafford. It's a European night. You ought to make that stadium electric. You ought to make that moment count for everything that it is. You get it. So many teams have come to Old Trafford on European nights and failed to get results. I mean, even the mighty Barcelona came at Old Trafford and suffered. For those of you that do remember, I think Paul Scholes scoring that goal. And then, I mean, that was the expectation. And somehow, no goals until 90 minutes. But in the 89th minute, we had a moment that sort of we thought was going to change this tie in United's favor when Corinth Tolisso conceded that second yellow card, and of course he was sent off. That meant that Lyon were down to 10 men and Manchester United had the numerical advantage for the rest of the time for going into extra time, and that they would make that count. Well, you remember the goal scorer in the first leg, I think, the equalizer, of course, at the era of Andre Onana, Chucky, well, he was on target in the 150th minute to make it 3-2 for Lyon. Lyon, with the manless, are scoring to lead Manchester United at Old Trafford. You can imagine the silencing of the Red Devils in that Old Trafford. And then 5 minutes later, Alexander Lacazette from the penalty spot sent Andre Onana in the opposite direction as he slotted the ball on the other side. Of course, he had to do that kind of jumps, stop, and then take the penalty. Pretty much what Bruno Fernandes normally does. And it was 4-2. United were 4 goals to 2 down against a 10-man Lyon, having conceded the penalty. So much to the anguish of Manchester United fans that it was Luke Shaw involved in the moment, a player who they had not seen for months. I'm sure so many people questioned why he had even been brought on. They must have cast at him. They must have thought, of course, it had to be Luke Shaw. He's not had played any game. But in any case, he was trying to defend because the player that gets the penalty was bundled in the middle of 2 Manchester United defenders, Luke Shaw being the most culpable in that moment. And the game was 4-2. To be honest with you, at that moment, I did think that maybe the tie is as good as can. If Lyon do know what is good for them, they should manage now the game. They should defend with everything that they have. They should throw their bodies on the line. They shouldn't be eager to go forward. They shouldn't get cocky. But I think after making it 4-2, they grew overly confident. Paul Fonseca on the touchline of Lyon was there observing, watching, enjoying every moment. Because when they pulled one back, you could see the smile on his face saying, we are back in it. And then suddenly it was 2-2. Celebrations. Extra time. They score. Celebrations. 4-2 now. So you can imagine the confidence that the manager had in his team that, well, we are getting this over the line. In becoming cocky, guess what happened? In the second half of that extra time, in the 114th minute, with 6 minutes left to play, Manchester United get a penalty. Casemiro fouled in the area. Bruno Fernandes steps up and scores. And it's 4-3. It's 4-3, ladies and gentlemen, with 6 minutes left on the clock. And again, Lyon, now the panic kicked in because they had lost the 2-goal advantage they had against Manchester United. They went panicking. They went panicking in that moment. And guess what? Manchester United were not done yet. They were not done. Kobe Mainoo, in the 120th minute of the game, with practically what would have been the last minute of extra time, he scores to make it 4-4. Now, how many times have you had a 4-4 goal scoreline? Those of you that do remember it, Arsenal versus Newcastle. Arsenal lead 4-0 by halftime. Newcastle come to equalize. I think the final equalizer scored by Ismail Chaktioti, and that kind of thing. May his soul rest in peace. Again, Arsenal versus Liverpool, 4-4 in that game in which Andre Asavi scored 4 goals. Then another game was, I think, Arsenal versus Tottenham Hotspurs, 4-4. Like, it's not every day that you get a scoreline of 4-4, really. So, in that moment, Kobe Mainoo scored. It's an equalizer. Of course, he goes into celebration with the rest of the Manchester United crowd and the fans. Now, at 4-2, some Manchester United fans had started to leave the stadium. They were saying, we are so done with this team. We are so done with this bunch of players. Because like I keep saying, the Europa League is the only chance Manchester United fans feel is genuinely left for them to win a piece of silverware this season and also get them back with the sport in Europe. And it looked like it was slipping away in that moment. So it was only prudent, it was only justifiable that some fans started to leave the stadium. While they were still heading out, Manchester United win that penalty and Bruno Fernandes converts it. They think to themselves, oh, maybe we're not just done yet. So some started returning to their seats. And then Kobe Mino scores that equalizer. Oh my God, the deafening noise that we could hear across Old Trafford. Even we who are not at Old Trafford physically, who are behind our screens watching this game, enjoying this game play out, could really feel the emotions. We could feel the noise. We could feel what that goal meant to Manchester United as a club across that stadium, across the world and beyond. So, and then we're thinking, okay, it's 4-4. We are destined for penalties. And I'm sure, both managers, maybe not in the exactness of the moment, but at the back of their mind, they had started preparing their minds for penalties. They had started brainstorming who takes the first penalty, who are the penalty takers. But Manchester United were not yet done. Okay, Lyon will only have themselves to blame, but so much to the credit of Manchester United. And who of all players? Of course, Casemiro providing the assist for that Kobe Mino goal. And then Manchester United attack again. Bruno Fernandes is in possession of the ball. People are starting to think, is he going to go for this? Is he going to try and shoot? Well, he did not shoot. Plays in Casemiro, who floats the ball in the area. And guess who is attacking the cross? Harry Maguire. Of all people, of all Manchester United players, Harry Maguire was the one in the box. It's not a set piece play. It's a normal attack. Remember, United had just scored an equalizer. It's, Lyon are, still within disappointment. United are taking stock of what has just happened, but they have to push on. And Harry Maguire is in the box. For all the bad criticism, for all the abuse he suffered throughout the entire campaign, both justified and none, he was to the occasion and took the bull held it by both hands and scored what turned out to be the match-winning goal with a beautiful header of Casemiro's cross. Oh my word, it's the goal in itself sent reminders of Didier Drogba versus Bayern Munich at the finals of the 2012 UEFA Champions League finals. It sent reminders of Danny Welbeck versus Leicester City in the 2015-2016 Premier League season when Danny Welbeck scored the header of Mesut Ozil's free kick to win the game 2-1 at the Emirates Stadium for Arsenal when they were pursuing Leicester City for that Premier League title. It sent reminders of Michael Owen scoring against Manchester City, I think around 2011 or 2010 thereabout, versus Manchester City as Manchester United won that fixture. Was it 4-3 or 3-2? I stand to be corrected on the exactness, but Manchester United fans, I'm sure you do remember that moment. I mean, it sent us reminders of Sergio Ramos scoring a header of a corner kick at the 2014 UEFA Champions League finals in the 93rd minute when only 4 minutes had been added on. Now, again, all the emotions, we had to take stock. The noise in that stadium was a reminder of what happened in Istanbul when Liverpool scored the equalizer, having had to come from 3 goals down at halftime against AC Milan. Excuse me. I mean, the goal in itself was a reminder of so many moments. Manchester United, 1999. You had to be there. You just had to be there. Of all people, Harry Maguire being the one to score what turned out to be the winning goal on a crazy night of football. I'm sure, I'm positive about this, that we may never get to see a moment like that with a scoreline of similar fashion, with a game of a similar chronological flow of events as they did transpire in this tie, and have such a climax to the tie. I get to think to myself that we may not see that happen again in the very near future because of the opponents that Manchester United do have coming up next. But what a beautiful game of football. Like I said, Manchester United fans, focus not on what the individual errors were. Focus not on the poor performance. Take the positives. Casemiro on the night reminded us the Casemiro that Manchester United signed from Real Madrid for all that money. For what? 63 million pounds plus. Casemiro was simply good. Alejandro Garnacho, good on the night. Bruno Fernandes, everything that Manchester United really have. Harry Maguire, how many blocks did he put in? How many clearances did he make to save Manchester United, to keep them in the game? And then go on the opposite side to score the winning goal. Kobe Mine, take stock in. Take stock. Diego Dalot, spectacular fashion, the manner in which he scored that goal. Like I said, just bask in that glory. For all the verbal banter that you're going to have all throughout the Easter period, just enjoy that moment because they do not come too often. I do know for a fact, and my Manchester United fan friends, Paul Chigozi, Gregory, and all the Manchester United fans out there, Mr. Kasuku Kugu Wazabanga Semaningili, they of Kasuku Live, Frank Kantambi, Emeka, the romantic Michiga, there, Bruno K, and all the Manchester United fans out there. Enjoy this moment. Sebija Ronald, enjoy this moment. Oh, not to mention, Bobby White is a Manchester United fan, and his son Solomon Kampala. But all I'm saying is that Manchester United fans, wherever you are, enjoy that moment. I'm sure you're permitted to watch those highlights as many times as you ought to watch them. I know for a fact that even I, who is not a Manchester United fan, have revisited those highlights just to enjoy the moments, just to enjoy, to remind myself of the emotions that there were last night when those goals were being scored, to remind myself of how everything and anything is possible in football, because we did not think that that result was possible in the manner in which it happened. Quite very impressive. But anyways, Manchester United do march on to the semi-finals of the UEFA Europa League, and they will be facing off with Athletic Bilbao. Now, they did meet Bilbao, I think, in the 2010-2011 season, or 11-12, I think 10-11. The Atletico Bilbao that was under the charges of Marcelo Bielsa, that did have players like Fernando Llorente, Oscar Di Marcos, Ibai Gomez, Ander Herrera, that kind of Athletic Bilbao. Now, present day Athletic Bilbao are under the charges of Ernesto Valverde. Yesterday, they managed to knock out Rangers, beating them by 2-0 to book their spot in the semi-finals. Tottenham Hotspurs were on the other side. Yes, Nico Williams was one of those that did score for Bilbao. Tottenham Hotspurs beat up against Eintracht Frankfurt. That Dominic Solanke penalty was the one that turned out to be the match winner, as Tottenham Hotspurs matched to the semi-finals. We could possibly have an all-English final for the UEFA Europa League, because United are still in it, Tottenham Hotspurs are still in it, and Tottenham did book a spot in the semi-finals in which they will play Bodo Glimt, who went through on penalties. That was 3-2 on penalties, following a 3-all goals scoreline in aggregate score. Lazio winning the return leg by 3-1 after extra time. Of course, it was 2-0 at halftime. sorry, at full time. That's after 90 minutes, which meant that there were 2-2 on aggregate, sending them into extra time, in which both sides scored, Lazio scored, and then Bordeaux Grimont pulled one back, which again put the scoreline to level of 3-3, and they did go through on penalties 3-2, winning in that. I mean, for everything that Manchester United did last night, literally made us forget for moments that there were even other games being played. That Chelsea were busy losing to Legia Warsaw by 2-1, although they managed to advance to the semi-finals of the UEFA Conference League, 4-2 on aggregate. Rapid Vienna were being knocked out by Jagaden there, 4-1 on aggregate. Sorry, they were beaten on the night by 4-1 and were knocked out 4-2 on aggregate. And then we did have Real Betis advance to the semi-finals, as well as Fiorentina there that did advance to the semi-finals of the UEFA Conference League. And then, so I mean, that's all the action that there was yesterday on the night. Of course, league fixtures do continue starting this Friday. That is Good Friday for the Christians. I know it's for Catholics, it's the way of the cross. And I think for the Anglicans, I do not know what it means for born agains, but I do wish you well as you enjoy this Easter season, as you celebrate the incoming, the resurrection of, that is, the man himself, in Jesus Christ. But so much football has happened this week. We've really enjoyed it. From the miracles, from the failed miracles of the Bernabeu, the remontada failing, to the joy, to the spectacular show at Villa Park, 3-2 there for Aston Villa. I mean, Barcelona being beaten 3-1, Bayern Munich 2-2 versus Inter Milan, to yesterday's madness. We had to take stock that week. But congratulations to Manchester United fans, commiserations to former Premier League players in Alexander Lacazette, Ainsley Maitland-Niles on the Lyon side, who are being knocked out of the UEFA Europa League. But oh my God, Manchester United fans, let me know when you have time for us to sit here with you and talk more about that moment, because there was a lot to enjoy about. Allow me keep it here and wish you a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye, and I'll see you next time. Stay blessed for now. But do not forget to kindly subscribe to the channel so that we can continue. Be blessed.